Okay, guys, so we're going to start again. Apparently, I hit the stop button in the middle of my talking. So, we are underneath my house, under the kitchen in the cellar basement. It is a dirt floor, flagstone foundation, so it's just the rocks they pulled out when they were building the house and they threw mortar in between. It's kind of a mess. You can kind of see what it's supposed to look like right now. So those are just rocks that came out of the ground when they dug this out. They used mortar in between. But as you can see in here, you shouldn't be able to just pull that away with dust. So what we're going to do is we're going to repoint this. So I started over here, and you can see I pulled all the old stuff out. Used a couple different tools for that, mainly a masonry brush. They're pretty cheap, they're like 10 bucks. And then, claw hammer works for some of the bigger chunks. And I actually cheated a little bit. It's not a tool for this, but I have a notching trowel for like tile work, for like backsplashes and stuff. So that actually worked really well because the notches on it kind of gave it a solid motion for some of the stuff I needed to get out. And it's really thin, so I got into some of those grooves. I am going to mix up the mortar probably tomorrow to do that wall. It's going to probably take a lot. I bought 6 bags. It's probably going to take at least 4 to do just this wall, I'm thinking. Possibly more. You'll notice some big sections here where there's like huge holes and stuff. The small rocks come out when you repoint because you have to pull the old mortar out. You just set them aside and make sure you put them back in there. You don't want those gaps even in, even some of the ones on the wall that's done. Smaller rocks could have been put in here, would have saved a lot of years in the mortar, but I can't complain. I mean, it's a 113-year-old house, so it's gotten some good life out of it. You will notice above that I had to remove all of the insulation. It was covered in mice poop, bugs, moisture. I said in another video when we were doing the kitchen, the sink had a leak. It had been leaking down here. Luckily, I don't really have any mold down here, which is, knock on wood, that's good. I had a little bit on the insulation, but I pulled that out. I'm going to replace with R30 down here. And then one of the things that I found out when I was doing this, somebody when they were remodeling last time, they just knocked through some stuff, which is unfortunate and annoying. But I just used some spare pieces of wood to patch from the bottom. Because I can access the underside of the house here, I don't want to replace the subfloor unless I have to. When I do the kitchen floor, I'm going to look at it. If I have to replace it, I will. But that means I have to move the cabinets, and I'm already done with that part of the project, so I'd hate to do it. But, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But we got all the trash out of down here except for some of the stuff that I kind of created. So the floor looks a little cleaner, but I still got all the big rocks in here. The rocks I need in here because I'm going to end up putting them back into the wall, so I'm not going to move them out because that would just make it harder for me later. I did start some of the digging out of the floor. I'm going to try and go 2 to 3 inches. It looks like there's a small cement slab that the water heater is already on, so I'm going to try and get a floor that's level with that, so that I don't have to dig that out and redo that and move the water heater. If I can just get it down and level to that, I'll just do down there. I'm lucky I still have a partial load of gravel to do the underlayment for the cement, so I'll get that, pack that down. That probably won't be for... I'm going to try and do that before winter comes, but the problem we're running into is it's already starting to get cold, and I only have weekends to do stuff generally. So we may not get to the floor this year. My main thing is getting us critter and weather tight going into winter because a lot of our cold airflow comes from here. So that is what we need to do, and because we have some new appliances for the kitchen coming in November, and I have to have the flooring done so that I can put the new dishwasher in, because otherwise I'm going to create twice as much work for myself, and I don't want to do that. So I got a couple deadlines, nothing crazy, but we're going to try and get this room down here done. Maybe not the floor, but we'll at least get the walls repointed. We will have new insulation in here. I bought a spray foam kit, one of the double canister systems, to do kind of the rim joists and stuff like that, some of the areas that need it. And then I'm going to hit some of the gap with it, but then I'm going to put the R30 faced in here. It'll have the paper facing down, give it something of a moisture barrier until I can get in here and do more. I'm sorry, I got something in my eye. That's about it. I just want to give you guys an update, give you kind of a view of what we look like total down here. Still got the water heater, wall down here, that area there that's still an absolute mess, and then back in here. We still got a lot to do, but I've fixed all the holes for where the mice were coming in through the house, at least up into the flooring. We still got to get it so they can't come into here, and hopefully I've got enough time in the next couple weeks to make that happen. And we'll finish the kitchen, try to give you guys an update on where the kitchen's at. I'm in the middle of so many projects right now. The kitchen's not exactly looking fantastic, and the wife's trying to get me done with one project at a time. So I just want to give everybody an update. Thanks for all your support.